Welcome in, everyone. We're just a few days away from Boeheim's Army getting back out on the court here in 2023. It'll be Monday at the War Memorial downtown, 7 o'clock. Boeheim's Army taking on Team Gibson, a game you can hear on our radio side at ESPN Radio here in Syracuse. Brian Higgins, we got the head coach of Boeheim's Army yet again, Ryan Blackwell. We got the GM of Boeheim's Army, Sean Belby. Guys, welcome in. This is always a pretty cool time of year.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Yeah, and thanks, guys, coming down and hanging out in the studio. And Ryan, man, you've been involved in this a long time now. What keeps bringing you back year after year after year?
I mean, it's an exciting brand of basketball during the summer. There's not a lot going on. And me, who coaches high school all year and around high school kids, it's a nice change up to be able to coach, older men, more talented professionals. And it's a fun brand of basketball. It's in front of our Orange crowd. It's with Syracuse alumni, so being able to coach a lot of those guys and be around the Orange family is always fun.
Yeah, I guess it all shows our age, right? It used to be some guys maybe you played with at some point, right? It's not quite the case anymore. We got to get some younger legs out there, huh?
Absolutely. You have to have younger legs. It's a tough, like I said, all these guys are in shape. They've been playing overseas for a long time. Belvin and I get out there. He's a lot younger than me. But, every year, every summer, I have to get out there and usually play 5-on-5 with the guys. I got to ice my knees for a couple of days or a couple of weeks afterwards, but it's well worth it.
Yeah, you got to show them what's up just a little bit. Let them remember who you were. And Sean, you and your brother Kevin have been working hard on this for years and years and years now. This is the 9th year of Boeheim's Army. What draws you back year after year to do this thing?
Like Coach said, just the excitement. Being back in Orange, being back up in in Syracuse, it's a lot of fun. Played with some of these guys, so it's chance of winning $1 million. Wearing orange, you can't beat it.
Yeah, and won $1 million a couple of years ago, so got some of that money in the back pocket and a chance to go out and do it again this year. Let's get in the roster, guys. We got 12 guys here. We got 7 that played at points in their career at Syracuse, and remember for that, and 5 other guys that are going to be a significant part, it would appear, to this roster this year. So, Sean, looking at the 12, who was the white whale for you this year? Who was the one guy on this roster you're like, I got to get this guy, that we got to lock this guy down for the roster?
Probably, there's 2. First one that comes to mind, new guy, obviously, Tyus Battle. Been trying to get him, for 3 or 4 years now since he graduated. Every year in about April, it's been a yes, and then, come July, it's been a hard no. So we're super excited to have him this year. This is the first time that he hasn't been injured around this time. So super talented young guy, like Black said. Excited to have, those fresh legs that he has. So it's going to be a real treat for Cuse fans to see him back in Orange. And then the second one, Chris McCullough. Probably the best player from Syracuse that's not in the NBA right now. Super talented, 6'11", can do it all. So he was, one of our best guys in 21 when we won it, and he's going to be, one of our best players again this summer.
And you know this, Ryan. Like, these are guys. This is a time of year. Like, you've come off like a long season, playing who the heck knows where, right, around the world, Asia, Australia, somewhere random parts of Europe. You never know. What is it like for these guys? You're coming off a season. You're trying to get ready. You're trying to find that next contract out there to do something in the middle of the summer right now.
Well, I remember how it was when I played professionally. I'd come home and I just kind of wanted to relax. Be around friends and family. And these guys are taking, a couple weeks out of their summer to come try to win more money. So, hats off to them for making that commitment. And it's not easy. But these guys, the best thing is they're in shape. The majority of them are in shape. If they came home, they at least did something. We've had times in the past where guys came in and were like, oh, man, they're a little bit out of shape. So I think these guys have all been playing at a high level, and they've stayed in shape for the most part. So I'm really excited to see what they're going to bring to the table. Yeah,
no, Chris has had various knee issues throughout his career. He's, I think, more than a year removed from his last surgery, so he's looking good. And what about Tyus here? I mean, we watched this guy play recently, and he's very high on Syracuse's all-time list for a lot of things. What excites you about coaching him?
Well, like Sean said, we've been trying to get him for the last several years. He's one of those guys that fits his tournament perfectly. A big guard that can get buckets, is not afraid of big shots. He had multiple big shots at Syracuse, as the fans all know, and he's just an exciting player, very athletic, that he can easily go off for 25 or 30 in a tournament like this. So we're really looking forward to having him out there.
And yeah, so there's two of the Cuse guys, McCullough and Battle. Obviously, Chris was a former first-round draft pick. I'm always intrigued about these guys. You know, one ended his career at Syracuse, one started his career at Syracuse, but they both find their way back home to this, like multiple times for you, Sean. Andrew Wright, B.J. Johnson. Like, B.J. transferred out, but it feels like he's found a home here. Andrew played here just the 1 year. What attracts those guys to this group year in and year out?
Andrew, you know, his 1 year at Syracuse was one of the most special seasons, of his life. That's what he says. You know, his first couple years in college weren't so great. Once he came to the Cuse, we really welcomed him with open arms, and he had an unbelievable season. And he's been with Boeheim's Army ever since. So I tell people there's one guy who has a lifetime contract with Boeheim's Army, and it's Andrew White. He shows up every summer. He's always the guy that's in the best shape. Gets to town usually before anybody else, and is ready to work. So Andrew's awesome, and BJ is a super special talent. Has taken a huge leap in his career since he left the Cuse, and he's an NBA player. Played in numerous NBA games, and played in the best league in the world this year outside of the NBA. So we're excited to have him. Yeah,
you look at BJ is one of the few Syracuse transfers ever that it feels like left and like things got a lot better for him. Like most guys leaving, like whatever happened to that guy. Ryan, you had obviously the opposite experience, like Andrew did, coming to Syracuse, and you got it going better. What's it like when you didn't start out your career as an Orange, and then that's what's associated with you, with Andrew now for the rest of your life?
Yeah, I just remember that day when I was at Illinois and decided to make the transfer and call Boeheim, and he welcomed me back with open arms, and I had a great experience. And I think just everyone that plays at Syracuse, because of the way the fans treat us and the city and the way we're embraced by everyone, it's just a great experience. And I think this is why guys enjoy coming back. Andrew had 1 year here, but he had a great year, averaged almost 20 points a game, and the fans love him. He's the ultimate professional, like Sean said. He comes, he works, he's easy to coach, easy to get along with. And at BJ, he left. I think he played here 2 years and left, and did great things at LaSalle. And he's gotten better and better and better every year. He works hard, and every year I've seen him, whether it's in the summer league or with Boeheim's Army, he's always improving and working on his game. So we're looking forward to having him.
I know this from the coaching perspective in this thing. That's especially in this tournament, right, Ryan? That's two guys that can make a 3-pointer for you.
You got to make shots. I mean, I remember a couple of years we've been in this thing, and we've gone really like 1 for 19 in games or something like that. So you got to be able to shoot the ball, but also on the other end, you got to have defenders, guys that are going to lock down and be able to get multiple stops when it's crunch time and rebound and do the little things. And I think we have guys that complement our scores as well.
You have maybe the best ever in the TBT of that, and DeAndre Kane. We'll get to him in a little bit. Rest of the Syracuse guys here, Sean. The big guys in this tournament, I still don't know where the importance is of the big guys. Obviously, you need big guys to play basketball. Like, if you don't have a big guy, somebody on another team's going to abuse you. But it has become, it feels like a 3-point shooting tournament. Where do Rakeem Christmas and Rock will be on with us here in a few minutes, and Pascal Chukwu kind of fit in what you guys are trying to do this year with this roster?
Yeah, I mean, they're two big bodies, obviously great defenders, great shot blockers. Rock was with us last summer for the first time, and held his own. He had a knee injury last year as well, so he's playing through that a little bit, but he's healthy now. So we're excited to have him and Pascal soon up for the first time. Excited to see what Pascal can bring out there for us this year. At 7'3", there's no one even close to him in size in this tournament, so hopefully, he's going to be able to clog up the paint and block a lot of shots and maybe catch some lobs on the other end. So we're excited to have Pascal.
Yeah, might make the other team shoot threes if they can't get anywhere near the rim. And, you got a little size to work with, Coach, right? At least you got to have some of that sometime, right?
Yeah, I think, like he said, he alluded to Rock not being in shape. He was hurt last year. I think he put on a little bit of weight. So I think, like, this year he's in much better shape. So he's a guy you can throw the ball to. If shots aren't falling, you got to be able to go inside a little bit and mix it up. And Pascal just brings a different element. I mean, 7'3", can't teach that. I remember at Syracuse, he changed a lot of games just by being big, blocking shots, altering shots, and rebounding. And if he can bring that energy and that element to us, whether it's 1 or 2 possessions, doesn't matter. We'll love it.
And, as much as this is a 3-point shooting contest, you don't have those big guys. Other teams just get to the rim on you all game long. And last year, you finally got the chance, Sean, to put a Boeheim on Boeheim's Army. Jimmy's back for another year. I guess that's I don't know if is that a lifetime contract, too? If your last name's Boeheim to get on the team, I feel that's a pretty good deal to get on this roster.
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, last year, first year, Jimmy played with us. And it's super special just to have him, name on in the front front of the jersey and on the back.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, besides that, he's super talented. 6'9". It's great to have someone at that size that can do it all in this tournament. Can step outside, shoot the three, can handle it, can post up if he has a smaller guy. So Jimmy's going to have a big role for us this summer. Looking forward to what he brings to the team.
So that's the Cuse guys. Any pressure to play the Boeheim, Ryan? I'm sure Jim will be there. I don't know, buddies. Like, they're going to be watching you. They're going to watch you, Coach.
I think Coach knows and understands it's all about winning. At the end of the day, we want to win the money and win games, and regardless of who plays, obviously he's going to get time, but we're about winning first.
Yeah, well, he's free now. You got to watch your back. I don't know if he's coming for your job. I don't know. That could be a little awkward there on the sideline. We'll have to see, or if he'll be fishing on the lake. I know he's busy these days, and I think we found out here, Sean, and certainly when you guys won the Mill a couple of years ago, like what. As much as we love watching these Cuse guys, what can make or break how far you're going to make it is, okay, how'd you feel in the rest of it? DeAndre Kane won't stop winning this tournament. I don't know what his deal is. Is this like the best guy ever in this tournament? Like the guy you want that makes it go in this tournament?
This is the guy you want in this tournament.
DJ, yeah.
This is the guy you want. Yeah. I said if there was a TBT draft, I'd take him number 1 overall. He's just the guy that does it all. Mm-hmm. He does the things that no one else wants to do. Ultimate hustle guy, best on-ball defender in the tournament, just makes all those little plays that, not too many basketball players make. So that's why we keep bringing DeAndre back. He's our leader. He's our captain, and so excited to have him back with us this year.
And if I'm remembering right, last year, Ryan, I don't know if he came in hurt, he got hurt early, something. How much did that throw you guys off last year when he couldn't do what he does?
Yeah, we need him to be 100% and healthy, and he wasn't healthy, and that's one of the main reasons we didn't win and move forward. DJ Kennedy was also hurt. Rock was hurt. We had a lot of injuries last year that people don't realize. So, but speaking specifically of DeAndre, he's like a Dennis Rodman. He's one of those guys. He's going to defend. Mm-hmm. He's going to hustle. His IQ is off the charts. He does all the little things that don't show up in the stat sheet that people who don't really know basketball don't understand how he helps teams win, and that's why he's won so many games, so many championships in this tournament.
Yeah, won the 4 with Overseas Elite, one with you guys. So that's 5. That's getting up there. That is half of the ones that have ever happened. So that's a pretty good collection for Kane. How about this Matt Morgan, Sean? You had him last year. Played at Cornell. He overlapped with Jimmy there for a little bit at Cornell. Then now he's in France. If not for this Wembanyama fellow, I don't know if we've heard about it. He would have been the MVP in France last year. And that's a pretty good league. That's a legit basketball league. What does that tell you about what this guy has done as a pro?
Yeah, he's unbelievable. Insanely good shooter, lightning quick with the ball, and he's going to bring a lot to our team this year. So he wasn't supposed to be on the team last year, until Coach Boeheim called me up, was like, you need to get this guy. Mm-hmm. So that's how much Coach thinks of him and Jimmy thinks of him, and he's a really talented player. So just got done playing in Las Vegas Summer League with the Clippers. So. Mm-hmm. He's ready to go. He's in great shape, and we're hyped to have him back.
What does that tell you, Ryan? I mean, a guy in France, he's putting up 25 a game over there.
Yeah, I played in France my first season out, and I understand how tough that league is. It's gotten better and better. And we were really high on Matt last year. He was probably our best player, most consistent out of all the guys. Mm-hmm. Like Sean said, he wasn't even supposed to play, but super talented. And the best part about him is he's easy to coach. He's a great kid. He listens, and he works hard, and he just wants to win.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, he'll be an important cog. Obviously, he can really shoot it, too. So talk about the three-point part of this tournament. How about the Marquette guys? I don't know. How do we feel about having Marquette guys? These are like rivalry guys. Like, there were some weird games with Marquette back in the day. You got Dwight Bikes and Jameel Wilson. They both have won the tournament on the Marquette alum team, which isn't competing anymore. How'd you get these guys? And, have they gotten over? Is there a rivalry, not a rivalry? What are we feeling here, Sean?
I don't think so.
Okay.
We never had any issues with them.
No?
In TBT, at least.
Okay.
We pride ourselves on.
So let's call Scoop. Let's see if we got any issues with them. I'll find you some issues.
We pride ourselves on being like a first-class organization at TBT, and we think they did the same. A lot of teams go on Twitter and Instagram and start, these, bad talking wars over the internet, and these, Twitter beefs.
You were cycling through some words you didn't want to say. I could feel it.
And we never did that, and they never did that. Always had a lot of respect for each other. But Jameel and Dwight, their resumes speak for themselves. 2 of the best players ever playing TBT. So a little bit older now, but both have a ton of experience. And, that's what you need in this tournament is experience.
Yeah, that's got to feel good for you, right? You look over there and say, all right, winner, go play 5 minutes. Go get in the game.
Yeah, we've had a lot of battles against them. We beat them. They've beat us. I was actually watching the game when we lost to them in Atlanta a couple years ago in a Elite Eight or something like that. And it's to have guys like that that have won championship medal that know what it takes to get it done in this tournament specifically. I mean, we love it.
Yeah, so this is a lot of games. I think, like, as a Syracuse fan or if you're a Boeheim's Army fan, this is a lot of names you'll have known or seen in one way or another. Like, Matt Morgan and Cornell played against Syracuse. The Marquette guys played against Syracuse. DeAndre Kane's been involved in this for a while. The one name that's standing out, like, I don't know if people are going to know a lot about coming in, is Grant Riller. What kind of player is he? He's College of Charleston. I don't know if a lot of us are watching College of Charleston. Where'd you see him? I mean, he was in the G League this year, putting up points. What led you to getting involved with him?
I've known Grant for a few years now. Did his pre-draft for a few weeks leading up to the 2020 NBA draft. He was picked 56 by Charlotte.
Mm-hmm.
He's had two-way contracts since then, and just a great point guard, great leader, and he's going to get to the basket at will in this tournament. So he's underrated. People don't know who he is, what he's going to do, but he's going to be one of the best players for sure.
Yeah, you know anything about this guy yet, Ryan? You guys haven't been all together on the court yet.
Only what I've seen on film, and I love what I see. He almost averaged 20 points a game in the G League. Can shoot it. Shot 40% from three, 90% free throw shooter. In a tournament like this, that's key. Like Sean said, he's a guy that we like that no one knows about. Once he gets out there and he does what he does, people are going to be really surprised.
Another good young guy to have.
Yeah, and build
5 or something. So
build for the future,
fresh
right?
legs, yep.
All right, so Ryan, here we are. Today's Thursday. Everyone's together tomorrow, right? The game's Monday. How do you handle that's a 3-day crash course, right? You got to figure out what you got, who's in shape, rotation, starting lineup. How does the head coach handle this in 3 days?
I think I just lean on, first of all, my experience being in this tournament. We've done this before. We've had 3 or 4 days to prepare. And the best thing is we have guys that have been here. They understand what it takes. A lot of guys that have won games and won championships. So I think that's the biggest key. These guys are all professionals and have been playing everywhere. So they'll be ready. Do you know, like,
as I'm sitting here right now, do you know your starting lineup? Is this something you got to find out? Like, what do you have to do as a coach in the next few days?
I've been watching Phil. I have an idea, obviously, from coaching guys last year and just being around them for the last several years and just watching them and even seeing the Marquette guys and DeAndre. So I kind of have an idea who's going to start and who's going to play in rotations. But obviously, once they get on the court and see what they've been doing since last couple of years, then we really won't know.
Required Boeheim's Army Syracuse question: man or zone?
Man.
Okay.
Oh, man.
That's not like a bad word to say anymore now, right?
No.
Like, Red will support you on that, I think. You got full backing.
Absolutely.
All right.
I think we have to have a little bit of zone. We're probably working on a little bit.
I say zone around Pascal could make a little sense.
I mean, Miami Heat did it. They went all the way to the finals playing a lot of zone.
Yeah, there you go.
Finals, so you never know.
All right, maybe Red will be scouting you. He's trying to figure out his balance on how to do it for the fall. So we'll figure something out. We're going to be getting to Rakeem Christmas here in just a little bit as we wrap up with Sean Belby, the GM, Ryan Blackwell, the coach, getting ready for Team Gibson on Monday. And Sean, how do you scout these teams? Like, are you watching old Boeheim's Army tape? Or are you watching their game tape from Europe? Or what are you doing to get ready?
Yeah, I'm just watching their most recent film. 2 of these guys are Marquette guys, and they actually have a new addition to their team as of today.
Oh.
Former Syracuse player Alan Griffin is on Team Gibson now. So it'll be interesting to see how he plays. And then they have a former NFL player, Devin
Funches.
Devin Funches. So they have a little mix of everything. So we'll watch some film and watch it as a team, and we'll go from there.
I've Funches on their team. This always reminded. I don't think you, like, McNabb and you intersected in school. I don't know if he was still on the basketball team.
Still on the team.
Okay, I always found this when you saw a football guy in the basketball court. It's like, holy crap, those guys are big.
Yeah.
Like, you guys are tall. Those guys are big.
Yeah, Donovan was a great athlete. He was like 6'2", 235 pounds.
Yeah.
He was athletic.
Yeah, it's one on the football field. I'm like, oh, there's a nice normal-sized guy. You see him on the basketball court. It's like, whoa, this is crazy. So I'm going to guess, without knowing anything, that Funches is going to be like a random wide load at like 6'4" to deal with out there.
I'm sure he's going to one of those guys and go out and get you 15 rebounds in a game.
That said, as a basketball guy, right, you're like, no, we're not going to let this football guy beat us, huh?
No, got to box out.
Okay, so that is new news. But Sean, breaking news here. Alan Griffin will be playing against Syracuse. The Alan, not assistant coach Alan Griffin, the Alan Griffin, ALAN, that was on the team a couple of years ago. So that is literally new news as of today. So that is something to keep an eye on. All right, guys, looks like we got Rock on the line, so we're going to cut you loose. We're going to let Ryan go, watch that film. Sean, make sure the roster's all organized and ready to go. But thanks, guys, and we'll see you over there on Monday.
Thank you.
Thanks, man.
All right, that is Ryan Backwell. That is Sean Belby. We're going to let them exit stage left here as we continue on our Boeheim's Army 2023 TBT Preview Show. We're right here on QSportsTalk.com. As a reminder, you can listen to all of the games coming up starting on Monday. We'll be on the air at 6:45 with our pregame show. We'll probably even talk to Ryan Blackwell then. Ryan, we're going to talk to you then on Monday. That's us arranging our pregame interview for Monday. Consider that arranged. And but right now we're going to go to the phones and talk to The Rock. Our guy Rakeem Christmas is on with us now. Rock, thanks so much for hopping on today, and it's going to be fun to get you guys back in the Q's this weekend.
Hey, what's up? And thanks for having me. Yeah, can't wait to get back out there, man. It's always love and fun getting out there, so can't wait.
Yeah, we look forward to getting you out here, Rock. And what excites you about being a part of Boeheim's Army the second time now that you're going to get to do this?
Just the fans. It's always a crazy atmosphere when we play out there. Everyone comes out, supports, like always. Just being able to play with guys we haven't seen in a while and new guys that haven't played at Syracuse either, and just being able to play with them. So it's always fun coming out there and competing hard.
I'm trying to look at this roster and figure out how many of these guys you actually played with in college. You must have intersected with BJ, right? I don't know. Did you play with any of these other guys at Syracuse?
I played with BJ, Chris. Pretty much that was it.
Okay, Chris was here, right, man. So it's got to be cool for you, right, to get to play with some, like Tyus is just a little bit younger than you. Andrew's maybe just a little bit younger. You had to play with some guys that shared the college jersey, but you didn't ever actually get to play with.
Yeah, I played with Andrew last year on the Boeheim's Army.
Nice,
so him too, yeah. So, but yeah, it's always good to catch up with everybody, play with them, the new players, the old players. So, like I said, it's always good for us to come back. The fans love seeing us come back and playing this. So, like I said, we try to go out there, have fun, and win games. Yeah,
and the Boeheim's Army team has gotten to play, in Syracuse the last bunch of years here at OCC the last few, and it'll be downtown at the War Memorial this year. Get a little bigger crowd in there. That's got to be something too, Rock, because I'd imagine it has to be this way for you now. You must still get love from Syracuse fans wherever you go. This has got to be about as concentrated a dose of that as you can get right now.
Everywhere. I live in North Carolina. You would think it's more UNC fans out here, and I see Syracuse fans everywhere. So just being able to come back home to Syracuse and be able to play here, it's even better. Like you said, it's concentrated, so the fans come out and they def show up. And,
you get to, as you said, put on the orange. I've seen the gears available on the TBT website. It actually, best I could tell, it looks a lot like the 03 championship team gears. That's got to be cool, too, I guess, to literally put on the orange again.
Most definitely. Like you said, it's been a while, so be able to put that on is always good for me.
All right, Rakeem Christmas is with us. Rock, take me through your basketball journey here a little bit. Your senior year, fantastic in 2015, and then you're in the NBA for a bit, and then it's off basically to explore the world. What has it been like? You've played all over the place. What has that part of your career been like?
It's definitely an experience. Like you said, I played in the NBA for a little bit, and after that, just been seeing the world from there. Played in China, Turkey, New Zealand, Taiwan, DR. I've been playing in DR a lot lately. So, like I said, I get to see the world. It's crazy how a little basketball can take you around the world so much. Yeah,
you played in the Dominican this past season. Oh, favorite country? What's your favorite country you've been to in this journey?
I like New Zealand a lot. As of right now, DR. I have a lot of fun in DR, so I love going out there.
I guess that's going to help, too. That's the shortest trip by far of any of these other leagues, huh?
Yes, it is. It's real close.
That's a nice little short plane flight down there. For you, Rock. You're all right. So it's 2023. So you're 8 years out. How long do you feel this in you? How long do you think you can keep going as the world traveling basketball player?
I don't know. It's probably getting to that time. So I don't know. But as long as they keep coming in, I'll keep going.
Hey, right? Like if they're gonna sign you up, right, and give you a little paycheck, there's no reason not to show up, huh?
Yeah, why not? I might as well.
Yeah, there you go. So we got The Rock with us, Rakeem Christmas. He's out there playing the Dominican this past year. We'll be playing with Boeheim's Army on Monday, 7:00 tip at the War Memorial. I want to ask you about, some Cuse basketball news, obviously, that since you left and this offseason. Jim Boeheim's retirement as a Syracuse Orange. How did the news hit you? How did it find you, and how did you take it all in?
Social media, and then everyone blowing my phone up at the same time. It was just a lot going on. But, I mean, Coach had a great career there, a lot of wins, a lot of history there. I was blessed to be able to play for him as long as I did. So, I mean, he had a good career. So, I mean, he can't go wrong there.
Is it one where is it hard to believe like it ever ended with him? Did it feel like it was just going to go on forever, or did you see the time coming when it did?
I did not see the time coming. I thought he was going to stay there forever. we all know how Coach Boeheim is. So, I mean, just to see him retiring and going out like that, I mean, it was bound to happen at some point. But like I said, he had a great career, and I'm very excited for Red as well.
Yeah, you and me both on Boeheim, Rocky. You and me both. I thought it was going to, 70. See, you can make it till 90. Why stop now?
Why not?
Yeah. You mentioned Red. Red's been here a decade and obviously played at Syracuse before that. He was on staff when you played here. What was it like during your time getting to interact and play for Red?
It was good. When I first got there, I was actually with Red for a little bit. Then I got moved to Hop. So, I mean, Red is a great coach. He knows what he's doing. He's a player's coach. He's going to do what he has to do to win games, and that's going to be a great experience. I can't wait to see him. Can't wait to see him do his thing.
How much do you know you guys as alums rally and support a guy like that? Obviously, it's a different spot than most new head coaches get in, right? Following a legend.
Most def. Like I said, he's going to go out there, do what he do, and win games. I mean, Coach Red is a competitor, and he's always been like that. So I know he's going to go out there, compete, have the guys compete, and get them ready for war.
Rakeem Christmas is with us. We're getting you ready for the TBT coming up on Monday. Boeheim's Army and Team Gibson will be playing in round one. How much do you, Rock, get a chance to, during a given season? Do you get to watch Syracuse games, or are you in it on a game-by-game basis? Is it when you can? How much can you pay attention these days?
That's whenever I can, really. And if it's on my TV, we having blackouts out here. But like I said, I try to watch as much as I can. I went to one game this year, and that was pretty good. So it was pretty good.
Yeah, you got up to the Dome, and I'd imagine like the second you step foot in the Dome, you must get just surrounded by Syracuse fans.
Yeah, when they recognize you. I have a beard now, and they didn't really know who I was until they put me on camera. But after that, everyone was just in shock that I was up there. I haven't been up there in a while, especially for a home game. So just to be able to go out there and show my face and be around the fans and just going out there is just it's a lot of love.
Yeah, I imagine it's got to be kind of hard for you to go incognito. Like people know Rakeem Christmas. Like 6'9", you're a pretty obvious guy to not be recognized out there.
Wait! I've done it. I went to Syracuse. Like I said, I had my beard and my hair. I didn't have hair when I was in school, so they were looking at me like, I feel like I know who this is, and I just keep moving. But I feel like everybody recognized me now.
That's true. You kept it high and tight when you were in school. You didn't have it growing out, so it was a little different.
Yeah.
You got a little Rock running around now. Is he? What's he? 3, 4 years old? Is he the next great? Is he the next great Cuse basketball player? Is he going to follow in Dad's footsteps?
We don't know what this kid's gonna do. He's huge though. He is huge.
Yeah, I'd say, with the genes, I'd say that's pretty well destined, right? That Rakeem Christmas's kid has got to grow up pretty big, right?
Yeah, he might be taller than me. Who knows? The way he's growing. But, I mean, as of right now, the world's up to him. Whatever he wants to do, he could do.
All right. As Rakeem Christmas is with us. You know what? I wanted to ask you this, Rock. Especially with your last name, especially with the popularity you had while you were at school here, and then, you became like Jimmy Fallon's favorite player and whatnot. How much did you just whiff on a few years on NIL? Like, I'd imagine if NIL was a thing when you were at school, you would have cleaned up beyond all belief.
Man, when I first heard about this, I called Chris Joe and everyone. I'm like, I would have been rich. But, I mean, it happens that, we had to pay the way for them to do this, so I'm happy for the younger generation. I'm glad they could get through it.
Is it? Yeah, I'd say. Is there jealousy? I don't know if jealousy is the right word. Is it like, oh man, I can't believe I missed out on it, or is it, man, thank goodness something like this finally exists?
No, thank goodness it finally exists because, like I said, back then we had to deal with I can't even think of the people who was in control of all the stuff, getting people in trouble for eating food for free and stuff like that. But compliance, we had to deal with compliance back then. So at least the younger generation, they don't got to deal with that. They don't have to. They can make money off their name and likeness and stuff like that. So, I mean, I think it is a better situation for them.
Yeah.
I don't see any jealousy at all.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd say, man, though, they don't have the built-in holiday shopping in their name like you did. You would have killed it. You would have absolutely killed it.
I think I would have did pretty good for 4 years at Syracuse.
Yeah, you would, Rock. I can guarantee you would have done pretty good on that. All right, so last couple things here with Rakeem Christmas. I know this. There are probably two questions in your life that you get asked more than anything else. One, it's the last name of Christmas, and two, it's your father-in-law. Which one do you get more often of people coming up to you and asking about?
My last name, pretty much. My last name, but that question always comes up.
Yeah, I'd imagine that's got to come up more often than not out there. All right, we'll see you on the court Monday, Rocco. What are you expecting to do on Monday with this team?
We just want to come on there, have fun, play our game, and try to win the game. This tournament, I've played in it once, and I've seen how it is, and we have a couple of vets that played in it before, so we should know what we have to do and just got to go out there and listen to coach, and we'll be fine. All
right, Rock, really appreciate the time today. Thanks for coming on. Safe travels up this way, and we'll see you out there on Monday, okay?
Appreciate having me, and see you soon.
All right, that is the great Rakeem Christmas. Glad to talk to Rock there. Always good to catch up with Rock. You don't hear from Rock a lot. He's out there, he's doing his thing, but always was a great guy back at the Q, so really good to kind of check in with him and catch up for a little bit. Rock, one of the 7 former Syracuse players that are on Boeheim's Army this year out of the roster of 12. Anyone that may have missed the last part of it, yes, Rakeem Christmas's father-in-law is, what's the guy's name? Yes, Michael Jordan. That's his name. Michael Jordan. And not just some guy named Michael Jordan, the guy named Michael Jordan. Mike's daughter, Jasmine, went to Syracuse, yada, 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 yada. But, Rock kind of an under-the-radar guy, so really glad that we could get him on the line here in our TBT Preview Show for a few minutes. In a bit on the show, we're going to get Jordan in here. We're going to do a little predictions for this team, see who we think is going to be leading the way this year in Boeheim's Army. But right now, I want to play back for you an interview with Andrew Zoldan. He is the TBT social media manager. He does all their podcasts. He's the guy to go to if you want to talk about all things TBT. We talk about Boeheim's Army. He knows the whole thing. Here's our chat with Andrew. And we continue on now on our TBT Preview Show. Brian Higgins here, bringing in the TBT social media manager, guy that does the podcast. He does everything to do with the TBT. He is Andrew Zoldan. And, man, this must be an electric time of the year for you with all of these games just kind of coming down the pike right at you all at once.
Electric, exciting, happy to be back on the show with you. First time I think I get to go camera on, which is a pretty big deal for me. I'm sure it's just a massive deal for the show as well to get to finally see, a radio face out of me.
Yeah, hey, we don't play around here, Andrew. I mean, this is big doings when it's Boeheim's Army season around Syracuse. We bring out cameras and lights and the whole thing, so, we don't play. And it's the 10th year of the TBT. I mean, that's longer than most of us or any of us have been involved with it. It's evolved so much here over the last decade. When you zoom out, big picture, what do you see of this tournament and the growth and changes and everything that's gone on around it here since it came to be a decade ago?
Well, I think what's really cool is the amount of champions there's been. I think there's been 6 champions, and funny enough, 3 of them, and I'm sure we'll get into that, but 3 of them are in Boeheim's Army's regional, and I know there's only 2, but you'll hear what I mean by that. But I think it's cool that there's been a lot of champions, and unless Blue Collar U repeats, there'll be another new one this year. But then still within the history, there's been dynasties with overseas elite. There's been teams who have been on great runs, like Carmen's Crew, who ultimately won, Golden Eagles, who ultimately won. So 10 years in, there's a lot of history, but it's also not just, the same team that's been in it has won it every single year. There's been various champions this year. There's a lot of them back in it. There's teams in it this year that have been in every single year of TBT. And, I'm super excited to be involved. This is my 4th tournament involved. So 4 of 10, 40%, not bad. Boeheim's Army is like 60% or whatever it is. Boeheim's Army has the most wins of any team active in TBT right now. And I think they're playing their 30th game or something crazy like that in this TBT if they win a few games. So, yeah, a lot of teams have actually built up history, and that's pretty cool when you got a league like this where you can, go back and look at stats from 10 years ago and they matter.
Yeah, because, easily, these teams could blow up or change and every year. That's not really been the case, which is kind of interesting to see as it goes along. And thanks to Overseas Elite for hanging it up there after those 4 titles. Who knows if that would be the case. And, Boeheim's Army, I believe it's the 9th one here for Boeheim's Army. They've been in it, I think, every year, but literally the first one. I look at this, from 10,000 feet, Andrew, there's a lot of the teams that are the alum-based teams, and then there's some other teams in there that, they either have a charity or whatever reason they're from a city or a high school or whatever reason they're together. What is the importance in your mind of the alum-based teams to, draw that pre-existing fan base of the local school with them?
I think it's, similar to NBA Summer League, where fans are watching NBA Summer League for one of 2 reasons. They're watching because the guys they loved in college are playing, or they're watching because it's an extension of the NBA team that they love. So it's super important to be able to tap into the already established fan bases, especially ones, as big as Syracuse basketball and Boeheim's Army. So I think it's extremely important to get people to watch. But what's crazy about basketball and crazy about college basketball fandom is the non-alumni teams. People watch to see their, alumni guys on those teams. There's not a Kentucky team this year, but a guy playing on the Overtime Elite team, he's an amateur. He's committed to playing to Kentucky, and he is playing on the Overtime Elite team, and the Kentucky fans are now fired up about watching TBT. So even when there's not alumni teams, these alumni fan bases are tuned in because these guys were stars in college, or NBA fans are tuned in because they remember these guys in the NBA. So, the fandom is just overwhelming in TBT. It makes it great. Obviously, you see it in the strongest cases with the alumni teams, but every team has players that guys remember and love, which is great. There's 64 teams. I've been running through making all these roster graphics that, by this point, 90% of them have come out already. And I'm just looking through them. I'm like, wow, I remember this guy. I remember that guy. I loved this guy. I hated that guy. So fandom is crazy. And it's really, Boeheim's Army bigger than most of the others when it comes to that.
Yeah, and I guess we found out here, we saw with Boeheim's Army, the year they won it a couple of years ago, like Kiefer Sykes hits the game-winning shot. Like, he had nothing to do with Syracuse before Boeheim's Army, and now he's like kind of an honorary member. I guess you probably see that. We see that with Boeheim's Army in Syracuse. You must see that with a bunch of other, alum teams. They get like one guy from some other school, and now he's an honorary alum of that school around this tournament.
Yeah, I like to do, awards at the end of every TBT, like the Inside TBT Awards. And I think this year I need to add this guy should have a statue in front of his alumni team's building despite him not going there. It was Mike Dom a few years ago for House of Pain. It was Tyrese Rice and Keith Sykes, like you mentioned, for Boeheim's Army. A guy that's actually playing for the Mizzou team this year, his name's Eric Neal. He went to UT Arlington. That's a guy that I think, like, hey, if he has a good tournament, they win a few games, they're going to want to, put a statue of him up. And one more name for you, Chris Dow is playing with the Louisville alumni team, the Ville. I think he went to Bellarmine, which is actually pretty cool because those games are in Freedom Hall, which is now where Bellarmine plays, no longer Louisville playing there. But that's a guy that might start with Russ Smith-Siva, and that team is just loaded from top to bottom with Louisville alumni. But he could have a great tournament, and they're going to want a statue of him, in front of the Yum Center. So you make a great point that we see that all the time. The non-alumni guys just cultivate and captivate these alumni fan bases.
I'm glad you mentioned the Ville team. That's a team I want to get into a little bit. They're stacked. I mean, at least with guys that we know as Syracuse people, because we watched all those Syracuse Louisville games, be it Big East or ACC games over the years. Russ Smith, Peyton Siva, I think Wayne Blackshear's on the team, and a bunch of other names that are recognizable. What we've seen a lot of teams that have been there before and have been there through a lot of these, like Boeheim's Army and the Marquette team and the West Virginia and a lot of these teams that have been at it a lot. What does it mean for this tournament that a school like Louisville, a big-time basketball power, is putting together teams like this, and there's still, teams and schools like this actively trying to get involved with this in year 10?
Yeah, I mean, this is a team that really didn't miss when trying to put together their roster. I don't know if anyone said no to them. I don't know if they struck out anywhere. And this is a team that is usually what a team looks like in their third year of trying to put together a team. So to see big schools like this wanting to get involved, and it's even more awesome to see a team like the Ville where their roster is of what we'd see, a third year at TBT. Boeheim's Army probably had their best roster. I don't know what year you would say. You got the early years with Hakeem Warwick, then you got the years with Devendorf every single year. But, their best roster ultimately ended up being the one that won with Kiefer Sykes and Tyrese Rice. But this Louisville roster, the Ville, they're showing up with a team that you wouldn't be surprised if they're a championship team in year one. And I think that's really cool. And they're kind of setting a precedent like, hey, if you want to be involved with TBT, you can't show up with 4 alumni guys. You can't show up with, 3 guys that were good, 2 bench warmers, and 2 more guys who, are from the state of Louisville. Like, you got to show, or the state of Kentucky from Louisville, you got to show up with an established team. And that's what these teams have done this year. The Ville is one of them, which is great. Mass Street, the Kansas team, it's kind of round 2 of a Kansas alumni team in TBT, but the first time in like 4 years or whatever it is, and their roster is insanely loaded as well. So showing up with a really good roster is becoming a trend that, personally, as a TBT employee and podcast host, I'm on board with teams showing up with, 1A rosters in year one.
How hard is it to get into this thing now, into the basketball tournament, Andrew? I mean, there's 64 teams. Like, Boeheim's Army's not, they always qualify for some reason, fan votes, or they did great the year before, whatever. Like, they always hit like every single checkbox to get in. But how many teams are actually trying to get into this thing every year? It must be tough to fit everybody into this thing every year.
Yeah, I think there was over 100 applicants this year, which is fantastic. The most ever in TBT history, I believe. We talked about that on the selection show. And it's definitely hard. This year, there was the run it back special, where if you won a game last year, you got back in again. I'm sure even if Boeheim's Army lost round 1 last year, a former champ, the 10th year anniversary, they would have been, invited back, as we saw a team like Carmen's crew was given an opportunity to be back in, despite not playing last year. And it's super hard to get into. And the thing is, these alumni teams, yes, everyone loves alumni teams. Why wouldn't you want to have, Louisville involved in your tournament? But if Louisville shows up with the shell of a team, that's not a team that's going to impress, the committee enough to get selected. So it has gotten extremely, extremely hard. And a lot of teams don't get the commitments early enough that they need them for whatever reason. So having guys committed, in March, April, May is a way to really impress and get in. But yeah, over 100 applicants this year, which was crazy. And to dwindle that down to 64, I mean, in March Madness, you get the automatic bids from conference champs, and they pick from the rest of the country. TBT, there's no automatic bids. Yes, there was the run it back teams, but they didn't all take advantage of that. So, there was, 27, 28 teams that were in, but then it's like, all right, how do we fill the rest of this field? So it's competitive. That's an exciting time of the year when the bracket's coming out, but I don't think there's any teams that got in this year that weren't deserving, but there's definitely teams that are on the outside looking in that, if the field was 72, 78, 100, they would have been in and been able to make some noise, but just, it fills up.
That it does. It fills up with seemingly more and more talent by the year as Andrew Zoldan of the TBT is with us. So the tournament itself started on Wednesday. Boeheim's Army in the Syracuse region will get going, as we know, on Monday. It's kind of divided into, the opening weekend and then next week to get through these first couple weeks of regionals before this tournament ends up wrapping up a few weeks down the line. What do you make of this Syracuse regional here, Andrew? You've got Boeheim's Army, the champ of 2 years ago. Blue Collar U, the Buffalo team, is here as well. They're last year's champ. How tough is this freaking region at the War Memorial this year? This looks like it's going to be really hard for anybody to advance out of.
Yeah, I mentioned earlier the last 3 champions because of the Golden Eagles players and Dwight Bikes and Jameel Wilson that won in 2020 on the Boeheim's Army team. So it's really the past 3 champions in this region. And it's so loaded. I mean, even if it was just Blue Collar U and Boeheim's Army and that was the whole region and there was no other teams and it was just one game, it would be a loaded region because it's the last 2 defending champs. But then you got the nerd team who knocked off Boeheim's Army last year. You got 2 new alumni teams with the Rhody Way, which is Rhode Island, and the Commonwealth, which is UMass. They're matched up in the first round, which is super, super cool. And then it's loaded. I personally would be surprised if Blue Collar U is not in that third round game, no matter who they're playing, whether it's Boeheim's Army, the nerd team, Happy Valley Hoopers, Team Gibson, whoever it is. I would be shocked if Blue Collar U is not there in the third round. But anything other than them losing in the first or second round really wouldn't surprise me. I wouldn't be surprised if Miles Dredd gets hot from 3, makes 4 threes a game, and they're in the quarterfinal matchup. I wouldn't be surprised if Boeheim's Army just is the best they've ever looked, and they're in the quarterfinal out of that region. So it is super loaded, but I think it's a good thing. It's a good thing in the sense that Blue Collar U could be dethroned in the third round before the quarterfinal potentially. And I feel like I'm going to look like an idiot and they're going to lose round 1. It'll be the craziest upset in TBT history, but it's loaded. And there's other regionals where, if Syracuse wasn't a host, they may have won there. Who knows? We saw teams that preferred to go to, Wheeling, West Virginia instead of Syracuse. And now that's a loaded region there. There's not really there's 1 or 2 that in my opinion are a little weaker, but this is definitely the hardest regional. Maybe I shouldn't say definitely. It's definitely one of the hardest regionals because you got the 2 defending champs, the past 2 defending champs, as well as the Golden Eagles guys on the team. And the new alumni teams, I said it earlier, showing up with good rosters. That's what the Rhody Way and the Commonwealth have done. They've showed up with year 3 teams in year 1.
Makes them dangerous right out of the gate. And, hey, as we've seen, if you're making a few threes in this tournament, like anybody can beat anybody in any of these games that the shots are going down. Last thing, Andrew, so we focus on this region. Let's zoom out a little bit. There are 8 regions, and obviously Syracuse fans are focused on the one thing. Give me another team or 2. Who else should we keep our eye on across the whole scope of this tournament that you think we'll be seeing playing late on and toward the quarterfinals?
Well, a team that I don't think is going to be playing late on necessarily, but I'm excited to watch. Show Me Squad, Mizzou alumni coming from the #1 journalism school in the country, the University of Missouri.
Fight the words around, Andrew. Where
I went. No.
Okay.
But Kansas team, Mass Street, the Ville, like we talked about. But I actually think that the Air Raiders, which is of course, the Texas Tech alumni team, and Zip 'em Up, the Xavier alumni team, they have, not as strong of regionals potentially as some of these other ones that we've been talking about. I wouldn't be surprised to see one of those 2 teams in, the quarterfinals, semifinals, where if they were in West Virginia, if they were in Syracuse, they could potentially get knocked out in the second round. I think they have a great road to the quarterfinals and beyond. I said this on a show yesterday. What's crazy about TBT is there's no 16 seeds. So in March Madness, when you're a 1 seed or a 2 seed, you're playing another low seed in the second round that you're probably, potentially an 8.5 to 10 point favorite over. In TBT, you're playing the 8 seed round 1 if you're 1 seed, and round 2, you're playing like a 4 or 5 seed, which you wouldn't see until, the Sweet 16 in March Madness. So there's no like easy paths, easy routes. You're getting tough matchups in round 2, no matter what. But I do think those 4 teams, Mass Street, DeVille, like we mentioned, Zip 'em Up, and Air Raiders, are teams that, might not have as high of odds to win it all as Blue Collar U, but are going to be right there, come 2 weeks from now, 3 weeks from now.
Yeah, looking forward to watching it all unfold. Andrew, thanks for hopping on, man. A Mizzou guy, a Cuse guy, we can all agree we can just pile on Northwestern right now. We've got the numbers advantage, so I think that's what we do right now.
Fair enough, and I also think we could maybe pile on Kansas because that's fun. Despite them having a good TBT team, I'll always get behind people who want to dog on Kansas.
All right, we'll join you in that just for good fun. All right, Andrew, thanks so much for hopping on, and do enjoy the tournament. Okay, good to chat with Andrew Zoldan there. I don't think Andrew quite got what I was going for in the pile on Northwestern thing. They've got problems right now. We don't really need.
He's locked into TBT, Brian. If it doesn't have an Elam ending, he doesn't want it. Right?
No, he's got the border war going. He wants Kansas. Yeah, whatever. Great. We beat. There was one big game ever with Kansas. We beat him. I'm good. I got no problem with Kansas. I'm good with Kansas. All right, Jordan is here to wrap up our TBT special. Let's a little prediction. How about prediction season? Shall we get it? Who do we think? We got 12 guys here, Jordan. Scoring leader. Boeheim's Army scoring leader. Who you got?
First of all, let me start with the caveat that this is all just based on who plays the most. So I'm not going to get mad.
So Ryan did not tip his hand with the lineup at all. That was close to the vest.
He's like, I kind of have an idea. You're not getting it. Thanks, Coach.
Okay.
We'll find out Monday. If he plays a lot, and he was on the team in the past and had success, I think Matt Morgan's just going to show what he does, and that's score a lot in bunches. I've been watching his French League highlights, finished behind Wemby in MVP voting. He literally plays like Steph Curry. And TBT, we all know it's guard-oriented. I think there's a chance that he could just be dropping 20-plus every game, no issues. But it all depends on the playing time. Who do you have? Because
I usually you're supposed to disagree with people on stuff like this. Yeah, no,
really?
Matt Morgan.
I figured you might go with Tyus Battle.
Tyus is my second.
The tiebreaker is that Matt Morgan's from deep. We know Tyus is a mid-range killer.
He is. The one thing I'm not sure of is people's games improve and develop over time. I don't know if Tyus has been nailing that 3 overseas. I'm not up on those stats.
A little bit, but he participates in the dunk contest. So I think just based on how much their baskets are worth. Matt Morgan, probably.
I always enjoy watching B.J. Johnson play in this thing because he's the dude can shoot it, but he is an electric athlete. Like that dude, he can jump out the gym, and he's a lefty. You always forget that. But yeah, I think Matt Morgan, leading scorer. That's what you want. Point guard, shooting from way outside. Those are the teams that Boeheim's Army always loses to, so you want to have that guy on your team. So Matt Morgan. All right, assist leader. That's a random question. I don't even know how to begin. Who's your assist leader? Who's passing the ball to Matt Morgan?
I don't want to say Matt Morgan there, too. Okay, I could potentially... This is going to be a weird one.
Okay.
This is where I might see Tyus. He played point guard at SU. He has a slower style, which will give teams more time to converge on him, and he can find open guys. I think Morgan will be doing more of the shooting and more transition game, but I could see Tyus leading a lot of half court. The other weird one, I kind of like Jimmy Boeheim if they run
Jimmy Boeheim assist leader.
You never know, but I think I might go with Tyus there, but I know that's a tough one.
I'm going to go...
I don't know much of Grant Riller's game.
No.
Otherwise, he'd be in there.
No, I think his game's kind of like Morgan's game, and we've both just decided that Morgan's playing more than him.
Yeah, and Grant Riller, he's I
don't know if we're right, but we've decided it.
I've seen he's dropped 40-plus in G League games.
Yeah.
So he could go out and lead them, too.
That's why it's the G League now. There's no D in the G League. I'm going DeAndre Kane.
I like that pick.
Blue guy. He's going to, pass the ball around, right?
I could see that.
Winner.
I'm going to be honest, with all the new SU guys and the guys that we haven't heard much about, guys come from Marquette and College of Charleston, I forgot about DeAndre Kane.
Yeah. He was hurt last year. He's getting old.
He's a winner.
He's a winner.
He's a winner.
You need a winner in TBT, literally, because if you lose, you're over. You need a winner. Nobody's won more than him. All right.
The next one's interesting because
we go rebounds.
Is there going to be a center on the floor at all times?
At all times is a lot of times.
That could be.
I would doubt if there's a center on the floor at all times.
I think Rock will play more than Pascal. I think Pascal will just eat up rebounds. But is that where I should put Jimmy?
I don't know. Leading rebounder? Yeah, where are you going?
I feel like, you know what? I'm just going Rock.
You're going Rock?
Rock's played in a lot of places. If he's playing, he's going to get on the court. I don't think he's here just to sit around. I'll give it to Rock.
I feel more confident about this than any of the others. I'm going Chris McCullough.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's going to play. And he's tall. I don't know how much Rock versus Pascal is going to play, and I think McCullough, if you're going small, McCullough's your center.
Okay. If you're playing him at center,
I thought that's where you were going with your line of questioning.
No, I thought about it, because the more I thought about it, the more I'm thinking Rock's not here just to sit on the bench.
No.
I feel like he's coming and he wants to play. Pascal, first time with the team, he'll be fine to just sit back and play a few minutes, but I can see Rock playing. No,
I'm going McCullough.
Okay.
I feel good about Chris McCullough. So we both have Matt Morgan leading the team in scoring. You have, what'd you go, Jimmy Boeheim leading the team in assists?
No,
you said Matt Morgan. Tyus. You went with Tyus. You pondered Jimmy. I went with DeAndre Kane. Just, he does everything.
No, that's a really good.
When you do everything, you got to have a few, right? And
really good thought.
Though Matt Morgan probably, I'm assuming Matt Morgan's the point guard. If he is not the starting point guard in this team, we're wrong about everything already.
Yeah. I mean,
he was second MVP to the number one pick in the NBA draft.
Do you think that's going to be, I know you're going through it, but do you think that's the lineup they should run? You think Morgan, Tyus, with Kane, McCullough?
With the significant caveat that I've watched none of these people play basketball at minimum since the last TBT, I'm very certain of it.
Okay.
All right, result. What do you think this year's team's doing? Won it 2 years ago, second round exit last year. They've won at least a game in all 8 TBTs previously entered.
So when I'm looking at all the other teams, I feel like every year before this, there's at least been 1 or 2 teams that really stick out to me. And it's like, they could be trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, we know Buffalo's good. But all the odds, all the fan votes have Boeheim's Army.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing telling me Boeheim's Army's not going to win. So I think that's what I'm predicting. Everybody's predicting it, but nobody else sticks out as they're really, really good. I'm worried about this team.
So you're going championship?
I think I am.
Okay.
I think I am.
I'm
a homer.
I'm concerned. What's the Buffalo team's name? The Brave something?
Don't worry.
Yeah. The Buffalo guys.
That's our level.
They got CJ Massenberg. They're good. They got most of the guys back from last year.
I think Vegas would be, because they're in the same.
They're in the same. Yeah, they would play in the third round, the quarterfinals.
So I don't think Vegas would be so
third round,
dumb,
the regional final,
to have Syracuse's Boeheim's Army team. Gotta stop myself there.
The Buffalo team is the number 1 seed in the region.
I know, which again, it makes you wonder. What does Vegas know that we don't, Brian?
Yeah.
What does Vegas know?
Exactly. So I'm concerned about Boeheim's Army getting out of the region.
No.
They were co-favorite on. Not that you can bet on it in New York.
Which is dumb.
On FanDuel, they were co-favorites to win.
I saw DraftKings this morning. I saw that Boeheim's Army was plus 1,000, and I saw no other team was tied with that. There was plus 1,100.
So that has changed.
That's what I saw.
The Buffalo team, Brave,
I'm not going to look it up out of principle.
No, I have a tab open here. I probably can. It's probably on here. We can scroll. We got the, what are they called? They're called, here we are, Blue Collar U.
Never definitely said it at least 3 times.
Blue Collar U. Yeah, I think I'm going a loss to Blue Collar U on Friday. Next Friday, third round.
Man wears a blue collar and starts picking blue collar.
Yeah, I got to match my shirt. Hopefully I'm wrong.
You're going to be wrong.
Okay.
Vegas knows, Brian.
Vegas, well, we'll see.
You'll know before any of us. Enjoy the games.
There we are. I will be there. We will be there. And by we, I will be there. Will Jordan be there? I don't know.
I think I got a pass. So maybe I'll be there.
Yeah, you could be there. Monday, 6:45 pregame show, 7 o'clock. Balls in the air. Boeheim's Army. Team Gibson. There we are. For Jordan, Brian, thanks for everybody. Almost all of you that have stuck around after Orange Nation to watch this thing. Be sure to check out the replays of this on Q Sports Talk on YouTube. See ya.